welcome to ODT Rugby Chat for another year. Look, I've just a couple of apologies. I know we're third week into the season and we haven't done any rugby chats, but look, I've been pretty busy and I've just been building this new bar at home, as you can see, to have changed the venue this year. I've been working on that solidly for the last 6 or 7 weeks just to get it up and running. So I've got with me Mark Scully, who's the sponsor of the tipping competition in the ODT. Mark, what do you think of this new bar? Would you be proud to be the proprietor of this?
Well, the product's good, Paul. Yeah, no, it's well lit. Nice bar. Very good effort.
And I've also got Richard Kinley with me from the Otago Rugby Union. I tried to get Big Ralph Perkins himself, who thinks he's the chairman of the Otago Rugby Union, but in fact you are the CEO, Richard. So welcome along.
Thanks, Paul.
Look, mate, we'll get started because I'm going to try and keep things brief this year. I promised the boys I'd have this finished in 10 minutes. Look, you've had a restructure, but really, have you had a restructure?
Well, yeah, your words, not mine. It was a realignment.
A realignment?
It was always, we started last year, and I'll go very briefly through it, that our stakeholders wanted to, I suppose, give us some feedback on what we're doing out there in the community. We had some consultation, a lot of consultation from May through the end of last ITM Cup season last year, and it came back that we need to do a lot more to work with our coaches.
Right.
We needed to also help clubs with their internal systems and procedures, and we also need to grow our revenue. So that's why we've got the 4 new roles that we've put out.
Okay, so you've bought a new commercial going on.
Yep.
So was he a Dunedin boy? Oh, yeah.
He's originally a Dunedin boy. Yeah, Matt McLennan. He's originally from Dunedin. Worked at.
He's a good cabinet boy from.
Yeah, he's a cabinet boy.
Oh,
yeah.
I think he worked with the Spates Ale House, actually.
He may well have.
He's for you, mate.
Yeah, to the right.
He spent a few years at the Westpac Stadium, and
right.
then lately he actually oversaw a big part of the FIFA World Cup. So a lot of involvement with sport, a lot of involvement with New Zealand Rugby and Hurricanes and stuff.
And you got Salada Mapasua, wasn't allowed to coach at Harbour, so you brought him into the. So he's an RDO, is that right?
Coach development officer. Yep.
Right.
So he's come back. So the RDOs have changed. Its focus is now on coach and coach development. We want to give our coaches, and what we got the feedback was that good coaches create good players and retain good players. So.
Okay, Mark, we'll quickly come back to you. Look, the tipping competition's underway this year that you're sponsoring in the ODT on a Friday, and as you've seen, I've gone 2 from 2, thrashed Piper with a draw and totally destroyed Tatey. So, and of course you've got to put up a voucher each week, and you're down to your last million as we put in the paper the other day. So you're pretty happy with the way that competition's going for you?
Yeah, look, 2 from 2 is good. The fact that you scored 2 out of 5 and didn't lose, I think says a lot about who you're playing against, but
yeah.
If it saves me $50, that's great.
It was a netball coach, to be fair. Piper was a netball coach.
At best.
Look, Mark, there's a bit of a question that other people have asked me this over late. I mean, because you profess to be a good coach and you've reckon you've played a lot of rugby in this town. But look, I've pretty much the historian now of club rugby in Dunedin now that Ellie McMurrin's not doing too much anymore. And I don't remember you ever playing club rugby in this town.
Yeah, Ellie was a great supporter of mine, great fan. So it's always a shame to lose knowledge like that. But that's a ridiculous comment.
Right, so you did play for Varsity B at one stage?
Varsity, that's right, and B's, yeah, and Zingaree.
And then to Zingaree. How much did you get paid to go to Zingaree?
Oh, I couldn't comment, it was the amateur days.
Right.
Under Wayne Graham's tutelage, though, be fair.
I know exactly how much he got to go and coach.
I didn't get as much as him.
Right. Look, I'm talking a bit about in Friday's paper, Richard, about player numbers, looking at it. We've finally got the Colts and Prem 2s are going to finally kick off this weekend. Look, your Prem 2 numbers are good. You must be encouraged by that because you've now got 12 teams in Prem 2s.
It's about that, yep.
Which is great, which means all the Prem clubs have got a Prem 2 side, which is that's the first time for a long time that's happened. I think the West Torrey boys have come up, and they've made it up to 12, because you've got Eastern as well. But I'm very worried about Colts. In the Colts comp, you've got 9 teams in Prem Colts. So but you've only got 7 clubs represented, and the other 2 are Otago boys and Southland boys. Right. Is that a real concern for our town, considering that only 7 clubs have got enough numbers to put a Prem Colt side?
I think it is, and I mean, we talked about this in the office today, is that every year there's going to be a club or 2 that struggle in any sport, and it's not just rugby. I mean, overall at the moment we've got 57 teams in the Colts and through entered, and we had 57 last year, so we're up in some areas, we're down in some others.
Yep.
Yes, there's some work to do, and I mean, there may be some more players jump out, you never know.
Mark, I'll bring you in here because you've got a bit of experience in playing in Central Otago. Now, when you were playing for Wakatip and Central, look, up till this year, for the last 2 or 3 years, they've had 2 grades. They've had a Prem grade and a senior reserve grade. Now, that senior reserve grade's gone. When you guys were playing back in the 1920s, 1930s, did you have 2 grades then in Central Otago?
Yeah, so I played at Wakatipu, we had 2 grades, and we had the Wanderers. And pretty much every club, so Matakanui, Alexandra, Cromwell, they all had senior and senior reserves. The only exception, I think, was Gimmerburn and Patiaroa played together, and the Strathtyre took the second spot. So when we played at Grenfurley, our Prem 2s, or Wanderers they were called, they'd carry on to Middlemarch, which was great because it gave us about a 12-hour bus trip home. But that was the only exception. Other than that, they all had although there was very little Colts rugby in those days, to Richard's point, perhaps they were playing senior reserve instead of Colts, but everyone had a senior reserve.
So the question is, what is Central Target telling you guys? I mean, the fact that I think there's only the Wanderers team, they've gone to join the Southland competition.
Third division.
Southland.
Yeah.
So is it just too hard for those? Because I mean, most of their kids are a lot of them are coming to town to play rugby anyway, aren't they? From school.
Well, they have been. You're right. The numbers have dropped away. I mean, it's good to see Clyde and Lawrence have both got teams back in the competition.
That's a positive.
I mean, in my time in the country too, the demographics have changed. There's not many Filipino dairy farmers that play rugby, unfortunately.
Yeah.
And look, a lot of the farmers I dealt with when I worked in the rural sector had 2 farm workers who had to play rugby. They don't have them anymore. So there's a bit of a change there. Interesting, we tracked all the kids who are leaving primary school to go to secondary school that played rugby last year, and it's been quite interesting. The clubs that returned the information to us, there's been a real shift that the kids are staying in Central. So there hasn't been a real influx of those. So it'll be interesting to see how that affects things as we go through.
With the dearth of Prem Colts coming through now, so look, I hate using the word, but are we looking at amalgamation in town at some stage? I'd hate it.
I think it's interesting because it was only a few years ago that some clubs were looking at it, and now they're stronger again. I think, as I said before, every now and again there'll be a club that goes through that cycle. Sometimes the clubs are going to join together to form a team from time to time. I think they will. Will we lose clubs out of that? I don't think we will. Actually. I think we'll
I see that at the moment in an open grade side, I think the Hawks and the Green Island Spaniards out there, they've put one team over there, which makes sense if you can't. At least you're giving kids rugby.
Yep, absolutely.
Mark, coming back to you, look, I'm a bit worried about. I think we had 4 super coaches running around the club rugby last year. We've lost Belcher, he's now club captain. We've lost Marty Herring, he's disappeared. He couldn't come to terms with Abramovich out there at Harbour. So we've only got 2 super coaches, which I think are Ryan Martin and little Jimmy Collins Jr. Is there anybody else? Perhaps yourself. Now, apparently have you taken on a role coaching the John McGlashan first?
I'm potentially helping the backs here. They've had a big clean out there, so I could be assisting there. I think Brett McCormick would deserve a mention. Unbeaten for 5 years in children's rugby. I was thinking he scared more mums away than he's encouraged, but he's unbeaten.
I hear, Mark, you correct me if I'm wrong, you'll know a bit more about Scarborough than me, but I think has he got 5,000 points up in that and no points scored against in that 4-year period.
Well, that could be right. He's obviously got good kids, but he was a good player. I'm sure he's a good coach. The other one that obviously deserves a mention, the one to watch now would be Badger after varsity.
Oh yeah, well Badger kicked out of Dunedin again by Jacko Duck.
Again, and I think Badger, that will do varsity no harm at all. I mean, he'd be dealing with kids that won the competition last year. They've all spent summer scattered around the beaches of New Zealand talking themselves up. I think a loss on Saturday will absolutely galvanise
when they lost to Torrey.
And Badger will rip into them and roll. I mean, they've got 2 good coaches there, and I think that will actually make varsity stronger, not weaker. So
what about, talk me through, because the school, the first 15 comp hasn't kicked off, and John McGlashan won that last year. You weren't coaching?
No.
But now a lot of your second 15 boys will have come up. So did John McGlashan go into that as favourites, or is it too hard to tell at the certain stage?
Oh, look, I think because it's mainly smaller schools, and I think the Boys High and Southland Boys being in the next grade has been a great initiative. Boys High continue to do well in the top 4, so they've got much better rugby, and they were head and shoulders above, let's be honest. What it's done is a really even competition. I think this year, McGlashan have kept most of their forward pack, but almost all their backs left. But it's always good to have forwards. Waitaki boys apparently are on the rise. Kane Jury's coaching Kings, and I'm hearing good things out of there, mainly from Trana.
Yeah, well, you take that with a grain of salt.
You know, South Otago, Kings, Waitaki. Look, I think I hear Dunstan are well organised. I think that's going to be another really good competition, and a good initiative that I put in this year is there's I think they call it a Colts grade perhaps, which is predominantly under 15s from the stronger schools and under 16s from the other schools. They're going to travel with the first and play alongside. So
that's good.
When Dunstan plays South Otago, they're under 15s or 16s-16s. They'll play, and not perhaps a curtain race, but I think they're going to try and have maybe a 30-minute lag.
Yep.
So they play their first half, finish second half, and then watch the second half of the main game. And for some of the smaller schools, that will be their second 15. So it'll be good for sharing reserves, sharing resources. Parents can go and watch. And importantly for the schools, because some of that travel is subsidised for first 15s, it'll keep the cost of rugby down at the schools because they can throw a second team on the bus. So I think it's a great initiative.
Okay, Richard, coming back to you, look, I see we've got 2 games drawn at the stadium this weekend, a 1 o'clock and a 3 o'clock game. So is this the thing where we just do 2 lots of that a year, or you're looking to get more games there?
We'd love to have more games there. We like everybody, apply to the Community Sports Fund through the DVML, which then gets assessed, and don't worry, we ask for a lot more than we get. And
I know the cost must be big too.
Well, yes it is and no it isn't. I mean, there's a community fund set aside by the council for amateur sport, and that's what that fund's there for, and we'll try and get as many games on the...
Could we play some... I said there's a game drawn this weekend, the Prem 2s at Easton, and I've been out to Easton, and those lights out there are fantastic. I think we should be utilising that ground more often, because it's always fine out there. It's a lot finer than there is in Dunedin. Ground's hard, the lights are really good. You can play Premier rugby out there, no problem at all from what I can see. But is there a chance for us at some stage, I know with this contraction of competition with Super 15 and NPC and all those things, and all that does is impact on club rugby, is there a chance for us to play Friday night games so that we can actually get more club members going along to watch?
We talked about this the other day. Now we've got to look at the way we deliver the game to the community, and if we can get more games under lights, good lights, and at the stadium on a Friday night, why wouldn't we? I think that's something we definitely need to look at.
Okay guys, look, just quickly, I think Mark, you've sort of alluded to it already, but who have you got down as winning the comp this year, before we go through the games of the day?
I thought University were going to be the team to beat again, but Tyro has proven, they're going to be there. But I think it's going to be the same suspects. Southern, a big, Varsity, Tyree, and the way I see it, Harbour, Kike and Dunedin, perhaps battling for that 4th semi-final spot. And all due respect, but I think I'd be surprised if Green Island, Zingery, Pirates and even Lambra made the top 4.
And what about you, Richard? I know you got out and watched a bit of club rugby at the weekend.
Yeah, look, I got watched Green Island and Lambra, and it was good to see the Green Island boys, lift it up at the end and actually play with a bit of ticker. But you're right too, Skulls. You watched the big boys out there, and I think those teams will have a few. The bottom 4 or 5 teams will have a few wins, definitely. But I still think your top 4 will be pretty much the same as last year, I think.
Like in the game that you watched, the Green Island game, they had 3 Highlanders playing. So did that help them a lot in terms of structure around their game?
Yes, I think it did. But the Alhambra boys too, I think, and talking to the coaches and that afterwards, had a lot of the ball, and they had a couple of backs, and the Alhambra back line are very, very sharp. They had Luke Whitelock playing as well, which sort of strengthened them up a bit as well.
Right, boys, we're running out of time. I was going to do a Form 15, but we won't bother with Form 15. It's in the paper on Friday if you're interested. But what we want to quickly talk about is the games that are coming up this weekend. Richard, I'll start with you. It's Kike up against Pirates, Kike at home.
Kike, yeah.
You'll be at Kike. Okay, Mark, GI at home against Harbour.
I'm going to go for Green Island upset. I was talking to Greg Cooper this week, who's taking all the credit for the Green Island win.
As he would.
Said he's got a couple of Japanese boys staying with him. He didn't mention helping them until they won, but now he's talking big.
Right. Just on that, these two Japanese boys, I hear there's a number 8. The number 8 very, very strong, and I'm not sure about that. It might be a midfield with that. But how good is this number 8? Did the rugby union know anything about these 2 Japanese boys?
Greg's talked to us about him last year, so we just need to see him here. No, apparently he's pretty good.
Okay, so you're picking GI Harbour?
Yeah, look, I played at Green Island, but I think Harbour will be...
Harbour's too strong. Uni versus Southern, probably the big game of the round.
Yeah, that'll be a tough... I mean, if University bounce back like we talked about, yes, I think it'll be Uni, but Southern's a strong pack, so I'll go Southern.
Southern?
University.
You have University.
The Badger factor.
The Badger
2 grumpy trainings and they bounce back.
Right. Tyree Alhambra Union should be playing Southern.
Tyree Eels.
Eels. And in the last game, Dunedin Zingery. Dunedin not going that well. Backline struggling a bit. Forward pack very, very strong. Dunedin home, do they win?
Yeah, no, I think Dunedin will win that one.
Yeah, I think Zingery's strength is in their forward pack as well, so if the Dunedin pack can match Zingery, I think the Sharks win.
Okay, well, that's it from Rugby Chat for this week. Just like to thank Snow from Spates for sponsoring this, and just remember, I think in the big game, it's Southern versus University this weekend. Look, Southern should win this game, going on current form, but Uni, with the Badger factor, with the Rahul factor, I just think Varsity have got too much class for them out wide, and I think Varsity get up by 2 or 3 points. And we'll talk to you again next week.